Language learning is like a video game, and I would know because before I ever took my first Spanish class in high school, or touched any of the other 6 languages that I studied, I was a gamer. It started off innocently with Pokemon, then Super Smash Bros. Then I got addicted to RuneScape, hopelessly addicted to World of Warcraft, and I even created a pro esports team in the game Guild Wars 2, comprised of many professional gamers from many different games. The point is, I'm a gamer through and through, and I've also been learning languages for the last 10 years. Hence, I have noticed the ways that language learning and gaming are very similar to one another, and I want to share it with you. Because if you know exactly how language learning is like a video game, well, then I can teach you how to beat it. And also show you a little glimpse into the future of language learning and my upcoming app. Let's play. So how exactly is language learning similar to a video game? As most people know, in video games, typically, in a lot of genres of video games, you have the concept of experience points and the XP bar. Essentially, you have a progress bar that shows you how much experience you need in order to reach the next level. You see this in RPGs, you see this in games like Pokemon. Essentially, whenever you have to level up, typically there's a progress bar that is following not so far behind. So when it comes to experience, in video games, especially RPGs, typically what happens is you start off at level 1 and you go through a ginormous adventure to get your character from level 1 to whatever the maximum level is in that game. The ways that you gain experience points are things like defeating a monster or completing a quest. And as you level up more, you unlock the ability to travel to different parts of the world that was previously locked off to you. And in those new parts of the worlds that you go to, there will be new monsters to fight, new quests to do, and of course the difficulty gets harder and harder. But when it comes to language learning, defeating a monster would be like discovering a new word that you didn't know before, translating it and adding it to your flashcard deck. Completing a quest would be like watching a show in your target language on Netflix and trying to come up with one new piece of information from watching it, let's say grammar or vocab. And traveling to a new place in the world is like starting a new textbook, a new app, or a language program. And on top of that, one of the core aspects of video games is unlocking new abilities as you level up. And it's the same in language learning. Perhaps in language learning, the first ability that you unlock is the ability introduce yourself. And the next one is surprise a native speaker. Then you have abilities like increasing your self-esteem, which just happens day after day. It's like a passive ability. And your self-esteem is increasing because you are learning and you're bettering yourself. Maybe after a few months, you unlock the ability make a native speaker laugh. Or maybe after a few years, you unlock the ability watch anime without subtitles. There are a bunch of abilities to unlock, and these abilities get unlocked the more experience points you get in a language. The second way language learning is like a video game is that the first levels of a video game, the first levels of your new character, they're always the easiest. Whereas as you continue to get experience points and level up, it gets progressively harder and harder. Language learning is the exact same way. The first week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 2 months, you make so much progress so quickly, because if you learn the most common 300 words or 500 words, all of a sudden you understand half of what people are saying. However, eventually you hit something called diminishing returns, where essentially it gets harder and harder to make progress like you did in the beginning. Maybe it took you a month to learn the most common 500 words, which got you to understand almost half of what you hear in the language, but then it took you another, month or two to get the next 500 words, and all of a sudden your comprehension was only bumped up by like additional 10%. All of a sudden you see the progress starts to get harder and harder and harder, to the point where, going from 9,000 words, knowing 9,000 words to 10,000 words doesn't really improve your comprehension all that much. The third way that languages are similar to video games is the whole concept of the skill system. So this is something that you typically see in RPGs, but it happens in a lot of different kind of video games and genres. Typically the skill system is this. You have your main pathway that you're trying to go for. Let's say you're a warrior, or you're a rogue, or you're a mage. Essentially, you are trying to level up your character and trying to progress progress in the main direction that you're going for. However, along the way, there's side skills that you can pick up, whether that be blacksmithing, or that be rune crafting, or beast mastery, or cooking, or fishing, or what have you. And getting good at those individual skills, although they don't contribute to your main journey, to your main class, they still allow you to unlock special abilities, and in general, your gameplay is enriched by unlocking them. In language learning, it's the same exact thing. You have the most common 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 5,000 words that are great to learn in order to boost your comprehension. However, you also have things that you can specialize in. No one can talk about every subject in the world, even in your native language. So when it comes to, let's say, you're learning Japanese or you're learning French, you can specialize and go after vocabulary, whether that be you being able to talk about chemistry, or you being able to talk about business or startups or YouTube videos, and you can target 50 words in that category, 50 words in another category, 150 words in this category, and you can specialize and essentially level up those individual skills. And when you level up those skills, they also unlock abilities. For example, being able to have a 10-minute discussion about cryptocurrency, or impressing your friends with your knowledge of business Japanese. So the fourth way that they're similar is that languages get easier the more that you learn, just like video games get easier the more that you play. So let's take the example of World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft, you can create different classes, you can create different races. The starting point for each of the different races are essentially in different kingdoms around the world. Now, if you start off playing, let's say, a dwarf for the first time, and you get to max level, obviously that experience is going to be quite difficult. However, if you then go and create another character, let's say you create a human character, well, even though you start off in a completely different part of the world, because you've already gotten one character to a max level, you're familiar with the gameplay mechanics, you're familiar with how to fight monsters, where certain, quests are in the world, and it makes that experience of creating that new character, even though it's a completely new character, that much easier. Languages are the same. If you learn Japanese, or if you learn French, or if you learn Spanish, and then you go learn another language, even though it's not the same language that you've previously learned, the tips, the techniques, the mechanics of learning one language really help to learn another one. And way number 5 that they're similar is the people that you meet along the way make the game. Now, it doesn't matter if you play a solo player game or an MMORPG, the people or the computer characters that you come across make the game. And it's the same thing for language learning. When you're learning a language, when you start talking to tutors, when you start talking to native speakers, it really makes it come to life, and it really makes the whole experience fun. So that is exactly how languages are similar to video games. Now, how do you take that information in order to beat the game of language learning? So on point number 1, the fact that experience points matter. How can you use knowing that to your advantage? Well, in video games, the people who create the game get to set the maximum level that your character can reach. However, in your case, you get to set the maximum level that you want to reach. Whether you want to be a beginner and that is what's going to make you happy, whether you want to get to a near native level or in terms of fluency, or whether you want to get to an intermediate level in terms of fluency, the choice is yours, and you get to choose what your maximum level is. Now, in video games, progress is very clearly defined. You beat this monster, you get 50 experience points. You complete this quest, you get 1,000 experience points. In reality, in the real world, when it comes to language learning, experience is not as defined as that. But you can make it more defined. For example, you can set daily goals, or even weekly goals, or monthly goals for how much of a language you want to learn, or what TV shows you want to be able to watch, when you want to watch them by. And if you do hit those goals, you can reward yourself, whether that be buying yourself some ice cream or buying yourself something that you always wanted. So how do you counter point number 2, the fact that the first levels are always the easiest when it comes to language learning? Well, I think in order to counter this, you need to come into language learning with the mindset that I am going to burn past this first month, the first 2 months. It's going to feel amazing. I'm going to make a lot of progress really quickly, but eventually that progress is going to taper out. And the more I learn the language, the slower the progress will appear to me. Just having that knowledge will help out a lot. And just knowing that getting to a beginner level might take a few months, but getting to an intermediate level might take a year or more will really help you. I mean, it makes sense. In video games, in order to hit the maximum level, you often have to slay thousands of monsters and finish hundreds of quests. And the The higher the level that you are in a video game, the longer it takes to progress to the next level. Language learning is the exact same. It takes time, and just knowing this will prevent you from underestimating the journey and getting unnecessarily discouraged when you don't see the progress being as fast as it was in the beginning. Let's talk about point number 3, the whole skill system. Well, in order to learn languages effectively, I would focus the input that you get, aka the content that you watch in your target language, I would essentially focus that around the special skills in that language that you want to build up. Whether that is you wanting to speak about business in Spanish, or whether that is talk about cooking in French, whatever subjects interest you, you need to be tailoring your input, tailoring the shows that you watch, the novels that you read in your target language. You want to tailor that content to what you're interested in. And essentially, once you have a good grasp of what the most common 1,000 to 2,000 words are in your target language, what you really want to do is, like I said, just focus on the words that pertain to your life, that are relevant to your life. And as a bonus, you want to be practicing those words often with whatever speaking partners you have. Because the more that you talk about your interests and the things that you really like, the more comfortable you're going to be when you talk about those things, and it's going to make you happy because those are the things that you like to talk about. Addressing point number 4, the fact that languages get easier the more that you learn. Well, this you can't really hack. However, I do want to say that if you are learning a language, what you always want to do is analyze the languages that you already speak and see if any of those languages are familiar or even are in the same language family as the one that you're trying to learn. Because if they are, what you can do is you can learn 50 or 100 English cognates, which are words that are essentially very similar between the two languages, and you can learn those, and essentially it's like you're getting words for free and you're kind of hacking your language learning. And then lastly, point number 5, the fact that the people you meet along your way, along your journey, make up games and they make up language learning. Well, the way to embrace this is by making your language learning as social as possible. Now, this doesn't mean exactly just having a tutor lesson every single day, but it means finding a group of people that are also learning the language that you are learning and chatting with them often in the hopes that you can have them keep you accountable and have them help motivate you when you're feeling a little bit low. Because people tend to make language learning unnecessarily lonely and solitude, and it doesn't have to be that way. So whether that's you going on Discord and finding groups of language learners to talk to, or whether that's you having tutor lessons or calls with your pen pal often, find a way to make language learning a little bit more social, because it's really going to help out on your journey. But yeah, that is exactly how language learning is similar to video games, and that's exactly how to beat it. If you are a gamer, or if you're just really into language learning and you're serious about it, be sure to sign up for the email list for my upcoming language learning app, because it is not even really an app, it is a game to learn languages. So you want to sign up to this email list, because if you want to have a better chance of getting alpha or beta access to my upcoming app, then you really want to be on this email list, because spots are going to go quick. And the app is so cool, and like I said, it's not a gamified language learning app. It literally is a video game with leveling and all this. It's really cool. So sign up for that. And of course, in order to sign up to the app, you can go to tinyurl.com/ikenna-app. And in the meantime, while you are waiting for my app, if you are personally curious how I learn languages, or if you just want more advice like the advice I gave you in this video, I would highly recommend you to check out my brand new video course, The Ikenna Method. It is an amazing video course with 32 videos that walk you through how to learn any language step by step. And being the gamer that I am, I've also broken the course up into multiple levels, just like a video game. So I'm sure you're gonna like it. It comes with exclusive Discord server access, which really helps because it's a group of people who can help keep you accountable and motivate you and share language learning advice. So definitely check out the course if that sounds interesting. You can find it at ikenna.com. Thank you so much for watching the video. I hope this video was really cool and that it helped you, and I will catch you in the next one. Take care.